Okay, let's go. We're live streaming. I'm checking everything real quick. How's that gonna look once the encoder is connected? Put myself a bit more in the middle. Right? Here we are. Okay, welcome everyone. So today's stream is gonna be about dating as always, and I'm gonna talk about mistakes, top mistakes that men make in dating, right? So this is my screen right now. This is where we're at, right? This is the main agenda. Okay, now we're gonna make sure it's one. It's nice and big for everyone. Oh crap, it kind of ruins it. Oh well. So, top dating mistakes men make, and that's gonna be that's the list for today. Sitting opposite each other on dates, scarcity mindset, bad communication skills, voice, how you talk to her, talking too much, low energy, low ambition, not understanding, bad boy slash romantic dynamic, right? And maybe something else is gonna pop up for me. So let's start with this, right? What most men get wrong is they go on a date with a girl and they sit opposite each other, right? Now, it is romantic. It can be good, but there are better ways to do it, okay? If we look at best couples, they usually sit either sort of a side by side way in like the 45-degree angle to each other, right? So that's a lot better usually. Or completely side by side. If you're completely opposite each other, it works if you already have a good connection. It works if you're already kind of established, or it works if you're very experienced. If you're very good at this, if you're very good at dating, if you know how to build attraction and everything else, then it doesn't matter for you how you sit. You know, you can be, I don't know, squatting and she can be standing, whatever, it doesn't matter. But if you're a beginner and you're on a first date, you want to be close to each other. You want to be touching. You want to be in proximity. You want to be. No, that's true. Yeah, you want to be close to each other. You want to be close because in this way, you don't really have to try too hard to build that physical intimacy. When you're next to each other, you don't have to try too hard. Your arm is gonna touch accidentally, your shoulder is gonna touch. She can lean on you, you can give her a quick hug or a quick tap or whatever, you know. You are together, right? You're trying to be together, right? This is not a job interview. When you're opposite each other, right? I'm not saying it's not gonna work. It can always work well. Oh, they're doing a tea date. That's nice. I love tea. But when you're opposite each other, the problem that can happen, right, when you're opposite each other is you can almost be like in a fight kind of scenario, like negotiations, job interview, business negotiations. You're opposite, you're opposing each other. And so already dating is set up in a way that's so much so much about what I can get and how little can I give up, right? For both sexes, for both men and women, it's always like I can get the most amount for as little investment, you know? Buy her a sandwich and get laid, you know, or not buy her anything and get laid. Not even bring her to dinner and get laid. She comes straight to my house and I get laid. And she will be like, oh, how much can I get out of him before we have sex? You know, can I get an iPhone? No? Can I get an Android? Because Androids are shit. Can I get a watch? Can I get perfume? Can I get a little dress? Can I get a dinner? Can I get a coffee and an ice cream? Just coffee? Cheap coffee? Dunkin' Donuts coffee? Nothing? Uber to your place? No? Okay, I'll walk, right? And so, how much can you get before? And so, there's always already some sort of competition and a fight dynamic, right? Which is not, again, great. So, I recommend here, right, is, we sit next to each other, okay? We sit next to each other. Is critical. So that's why I'm making it the first point. Because, like, yeah, you're gonna have your dates from online, Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, whatever. You're gonna get your dates, and you're not gonna do them well because you're not building that familiarity by sitting beside each other. Instead, you sit opposite each other. Again, if you're great, if you know your verbal is on point, it doesn't matter for you. For most guys, it's not. So no, 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 yes, 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 yes. See how easy is it to feed her when you're sitting like that? That's quite essential act, feeding each other like that, playing with food. I mean, don't throw food around, but you can be playful with food. I mean, doing some game together, that's good. You know, just easy to hold hands and touch shoulders. See, that builds that proximity, that physical comfort. Because if you want intimacy, for most people, you need to build it slowly, right? Unless you're in some sort of situation where people are just ready to go, which can happen, but for not most of you, not for most of you. So now, next, scarcity mindset. Okay, guys. So look, what is a scarcity mindset? What is a scarcity mindset? They go on. Audio is great. So understand this. We, right? We think there will never be the one, right? We think there will always be less for us. We think, she's the last one. The thing is this, the guys make most of their mistakes, okay, when they think that she's the only one that's available. I'm telling you, in the modern world, especially in cities and developed countries, women grow up knowing certainly that they'll have plenty of options. There's more men born than women. There's always some men left to die competing for women's attention, dying at wars, dying in crime, dying as rebels or whistleblowers, whatever, right? So the universe balances for that. And one man can always handle a few women, especially men at the top. Two, three, easily, 20, 30, sometimes hundreds, right? So women know that there's always plenty of men to go around. On average, they'll be fine, right? There will be some cases of women not having enough attention, but overall, that's kind of the vibe here. So, you believing that she's the only one, you'll make a lot of mistakes. You will do a lot of wrong things. You will really, mess up, mess things up. And I don't want you to mess things up, right? Understand that. I don't want you to mess things up. So, we want to be in an abundance mindset, and this has to start working internally. You start to have you have to start transforming your worldview in an abundance worldview, right? Almost like, right now most people live in a scarcity illusion. They think there's not enough resources, not enough money, not enough jobs, not enough safety and security, and not enough good women, not enough good men, not enough good dating options. They condition themselves to live like that. And unfortunately, what we focus on, often we see more of. So the more we focus on how wrong things are, the more we're gonna attract it in our world, and that includes in dating world. Either all women are gonna be bad, or there's just gonna be no women, or no attractive women, or something around those lines, or no suitable women for you. And then because it's not true, the reality is it's not true. You will find a few that will be really good, but you will be like, oh my god, that's the one. And sometimes when it's that's the one from an abundance mindset, that will often result in a good relationship. When it's that's the one from a scarcity mindset, you will often do a lot of things that will push that person away to teach you the lesson that there's always more. There's always one for you. There's always another one for you, right? there's no such thing as the one. There's the many. And so this abundance mindset is something, takes time to understand. But one book I can really recommend you is called Happy Pocket Full of Money. I recommend it to a lot of people. It's a good book, and you can find it on whatever. I need to go to Amazon. Let's just click shopping here and Happy Pocket Full of Money. You can find an audiobook. You can buy it. I mean, look, it's only like 300 rupees. We're in India. That's interesting. I mean, that's a good price for. Oh, that's a standard price for a book in India anyway. Okay, so it's not probably the most popular book about abundance, but it's very good, I would say, and I would highly recommend to help you reprogram your mindset into abundance. Why is it about money? Well, you know, money is demonstration of abundance. Having a lot of money, you'll be abundant. You can still be scarce in other areas, but if you don't have the money, you're definitely scarce. You're definitely scarce in terms of money, and so it's all related. You can have a great dating life and very bad financial life, and you can have very great financial life and very bad dating life. Both can be stemming from you lacking an abundance mindset in that area. Well, we want to have abundance mindset in all of these areas: financial, health, spiritual, social, dating, all of these areas. So us being fully confident in that is going to help. And so the next level for that would be something um, called proof, not promises. Proof, not promises. Emphasizing need for tangible evidence and verified results over future projections and insurance, right? So you can do this abundance mindset as much as you can, but you also need to prove to yourself that it's something you can actually get. And so it's very important that you start showing, you don't just start thinking abundance, but you start demonstrating abundance to yourself. Now, how does abundance in terms of dating look like? Well, first of all, abundance of options. Are you living in a place that has, or do you have access to a place that has an abundance of options? Look, sometimes I live in a hut by a waterfall or by the beach or in the mountains. There is no abundance. There's one little grandma that's cooking my breakfast and dinner, and that's the only option, which is fine, right? But that's not, it is not an option basically for dating, right? So there is no abundance of options. But me having traveled through, what is it now, 30 plus countries, 100, 200 different cities maybe, or hundreds of cities at least, 100 cities, let's say, plus. I know where abundance is, which cities have an overflow of potential options for dating. London, New York, Miami, LA, Bangkok, Berlin, Paris, Madrid, Barcelona, islands, Bali, Mallorca, Ibiza, Crete in Greece. I haven't been to Mykonos, but I know it's an abundant option in the summer. So, you know, I know that there's these abundance hotspots. Using online dating in different cities, you see that, okay, there's an abundance of, here and here and here and here. Okay, cool. Abundance of options, that's the first level. But, there can be hundreds and thousands of women around you, which you will know that there's abundance of options. But if they're not interacting with you, if they're not flirting with you, laughing with you, talking to you, you're not really sure whether it's an abundance of options for you. So you need to demonstrate to your body that these are the options for you. Now, there's two ways to get there. You either become so attractive, not just looks wise, I mean, really status wise. You become so attractive status wise that women start approaching you for things. And this can be achieved in a variety of different ways. You can become famous, you can become rich, you can become well known in an industry, you can start organizing events, parties, gatherings, you can become a yoga teacher in a city that has a lot of women, or a Pilates teacher. There's a lot of these things. Photographer, work in fashion, all of these things work. And another option would be to approach these women directly and talk to them. You go to a shopping mall, there's probably, I don't know, 10, 20, 50 girls walking around. You can talk to them. And in this way, you're demonstrating your body, your whole system, your eyes, your mind, your ears, your whole energy system, your whole biology, that here's an option for me. That's a potential option. Maybe there's one that wouldn't like you, maybe 10, but there will be a few that will like you. And now you having taken, I don't know, 3, 5, 10 phone numbers, you can be at ease because like, oh, there are these options for me. I like this girl and that girl. That one I'm not sure about, but she could be an option. You know, let me go on a date with this one and this one. Oh, they're okay. Let me try to go on a date with this one. Oh wow, this one seems actually more interesting than I thought before. La la la. Oh wow. Whew. Expansion. Options. Proof not promises. An abundance mindset plus an abundance action. Together, demonstrating it completely, clearly, beautifully. Okay. How much time are we on? 15 minutes. Beautiful. What's the next point? Bad communication skills. Okay, guys, this one is very important. Most people don't get it. Most people don't get it. Bad communication skills. Bad communication skills. So, most guys don't realize how bad they communicate. How bad they sound. How monotonous or in other ways their voice can be. How quiet they can be. How boring they can be in just what they talk about, the things they talk about. Lame conversations. It's something, a lot of us need to be aware of, especially with the world being so techy right now. We're in weird situations where we can have like very intense, very technical business meeting or a job right here on our laptop, and then go outside and be surrounded with a bunch of people having fun and laughing and partying. And for us, for a lot of our minds, to switch gears would take a lot of time, from being very technical and focused, building websites, applications, fixing software engineering problems, investing, you know, doing finance or high level accounting, on a sort of high, company level, raising funds, and then boom, and it's, it can be really confusing. So, it's what we talk about, how we talk to her. It can be quite boring. Sometimes, quite often, we really just need to light things up and talk about simple things: food, travel, music, gigs, events, what you want to do with her, what she likes doing, would she like doing the things that you like doing. Okay? So, how you talk to her, and also talking too much. Some guys maybe can talk, but they talk too much. In the end of the day, like, you don't want to bore women with you. You don't want her to be bored of you talking. You don't want to, and especially if you're doing, you want there to be some level of mystery. You want her to keep guessing things, and it's not because like you're pretending to be cool. It's just that they're very attracted to that mystery. They love it. You not giving them mystery and something to guess about, it's almost like you're taking a very fun element out of dating for them. And especially if you're with, serial daters, and any big city woman is a serial dater, right? Because she's probably seen a lot of guys, not necessarily slept with them, but she's seen a lot of guys she talked to enough, and she's been on dates. So they start loving that adrenaline and guessing and filling in the gaps. And you'll find often that they usually love to fill in the gaps better than they are. So if you leave your income and wealth level unclear, they really want to believe you're richer than you are. This can only benefit you. Now, this can benefit you in short term dating, but if you're dating for the longer term, you know, you still want to hook well and make her feel like she earned the truth, right? Again, I'm kind of giving an advice that will work for, on average, really well. You can be really authentic and honest up front. You can try that. Um, but this will not work for most people. It's just the way the dating scene is. But for some of you, it might work. But even that, talking too much doesn't mean you have to be sharing. Being quiet sometimes. You don't have to be sharing everything all the time. Just learning how to be silent with a woman is also a very, very attractive skill. So communication is both talking and knowing when not to talk. Now, next, low energy, right? Just having low energy in your life, total, a whole complete low energy life. And this especially is important in long-term relationships. Because usually if you are, if you are, how do I say this? If you're seeing a new person, you're usually excited about them. You're usually like, oh my God, she's so awesome. You get all this dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline, like you're in that new relationship. Even if you were low before, she'll probably give you that energy. And this might last for a few months or maybe a bit longer, maybe shorter, depending on the experience. But at some point, especially for a long-term relationship, that's going to start dropping. And then she will see the slumpy you, the beer drinking, watching TV you, um, and you being tired from work and business and other things, you being drained of energy, you being low energy, you will not have energy to keep working on a relationship more because you will be too tired to deal with this. What's like one thing that men come home and they're like, oh, I'm too tired to deal with this. I can't deal with this right now. The reason they can't is because they don't have energy. You want to be living life on high energy. Now, I'm not saying you have to be hyped up and like pretending that you're high energy. No, you have to really learn how to be high energy. What kind of things make you feel high energy? Exercise, right? Moving your body, gym, yoga, meditation, these kind of things can help. Being excited for something, living passionately. This will help you in your initial dating as well because you're going to be so amazing. She's going to be like, oh wow, I want to be next to that. Ideally, you being like that in your life all the time is amazing. I'm not saying to be fake hype, just connecting with that energy, something that energizes you. You can be tired but still have that electricity in your body. You might need sleep, but you're buzzing, you're vibrating. This will help you to deal with a lot of the things that can happen in a relationship. In a long-term relationship, there's always arguments and disagreements and this and that and blah blah blah. And you can deal with it a lot better if you have energy to deal with it. Quite often, you just need to be high energy enough to just let things go and let things slide. Because you know that it's not even worth wasting your energy on. You're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then some things might need dealing with. And then that also needs a lot of energy to deal with things, especially uncomfortable things, to move those emotions, to, to shake up those stagnant feelings sometimes that come up in relationships. Sometimes in long-term relationship, I would say really often, the ugliest parts of ourselves come out on the surface. And sometimes we don't want to see what we are, and so we start defending it and making the other person wrong and the same they do for themselves. And we can deal with all of it a lot easier if we have a lot of high energy, and it's going to be easier for us in the initial dating scene as well. Now the next one is kind of similar, but they're different still, and it's low ambition, right? Low ambition or allowing your ambition to dwindle. So first, the benefit of high ambition is clear. You're ambitious, that's attractive. Other people want to be around you. They just want to listen to you talk about your big goals and big dreams. People want to do business with you. Girl wants to be with a guy that is either successful or is on the route to be successful. And if he's ambitious, he's going to be at least somewhat successful. Now, what can happen? You're single, you don't have a girlfriend, and you make a connection in your mind. Once I'm rich and successful and have high status, I will get the girl I want. And so you channel all that sexual energy and all the negative emotions and positive emotions from, well, probably negative emotions from not having a woman you want. You channel all that energy and frustration and sexual energy, which is positive energy, into working, working, working. And so you're ambitious, you're on fire. You know, you're not wasting time on picking up chicks. You're just working and building your money and status and fame and whatever else. You're ambitious. Then you get a girlfriend. And what they say, give a man a steady paycheck and steady sex, and he will throw away most of his ambition, right? And that can happen. You can, once you have that woman, you can realize, well, I have this woman now. All this becomes redundant. You don't need to be rich and famous and have high status anymore, right? You don't need that. And so the importance of it keeps going down and down and down and down and down. The importance of being rich and powerful and all of that. So your ambition is going to go away. You're going to have that constant sex. Sexual energy is going to get lower. Often when men ejaculate all the time, they lose that drive because, this is the energy that's very creative. And if we keep spilling it all the time, multiple times a day, we can lose a lot of ambition. We can. I'm not saying it's 100%. There are exceptions, but on average, this will be more true than not. But even without it, you can just be too comfortable. She's looking after you, massaging you, and telling you not to hit the gym and not to go to work because deep down, a lot of women are insecure that if you become ambitious and successful, they might lose you. And so they sabotage, they poison trip, they make you a little weaker than you can be because they don't want you to be too successful because they're sure they're going to lose you because hotter women are going to come and take you away. And it does happen. Look at Wolf of Wall Street. He cheated on his wife. He divorced and taken a lot hotter Margaret Robbie looking wife. And you can't blame the guy. You know, some men stay with less attractive wives throughout their success and some don't. Integrity, sure, but also, you know, I'm not going to go into ethics and morality, but low ambition, right? So stick to your ambition. Be as ambitious as you were, or even more. And the way to get a woman constantly re-attracted to you in a long-term relationship is to keep winning and winning and winning, and being ambitious and being a hunter and making things happen, business deals, movies, books, whatever you want to do. Making more money or making a bigger difference or contribution or charity is is like that. You make it like that, and this can really you know help with your relationships. It's very important. And let's go here now. The next one, not understanding bad boy dash romantic dynamic. Yeah, almost have to put quotes around this so it's clear what we're talking about. So if we take like a spectrum, in this case, you can be super romantic. Baby, you're the best, you're sweet, oh my god, I want to throw rose petals around you and on you, and there's a bath with a super great candle waiting. There's a bath with a candle waiting for you. I'm gonna massage you and look after you and give you gifts and blah blah blah. Or a bad boy is like, shut up, bitch, bend over, come to my place at this time. Booty calls at 2 a.m. Right? Whatever. Bad boy, dangerous, tattoos, beats people up. Me streets, women love that, right? Kind of behavior. So aggressive, violent, risk taker. Uh, a good portion of bad boys do die or end up in prison. So there's a reason a lot of men are reluctant to do that. It's not a smart survival strategy. In fact, it's a pretty stupid survival strategy. Um, there are better ways to make it work, right? Smarter ways to be a bad boy. But very, very surface level bad boys, they get a lot of women attention, female attention. So what is it that about that behavior that attracts women? Well, it demonstrates non-neediness. It demonstrates true abundance mindset. It demonstrates that you have the best genes, and that's the reason you're not even trying to make anything happen. Because why would you try? You're the best anyway. You don't need to prove anything. You're perfect. A lot of the time, bad boys would have this kind of complete delusion that they're just the best, and this helps to get women so much. It's insane. I know it because I live my portion of my life exactly like that. I mean, there's still parts of me that are a bit like that, but going into business, going into earning more money, I realized that you cannot be delusional that you're the best because if you overestimate your capability, you're gonna fail, and then you lose trust, you lose reputation, you mess up projects, you lose money, literally, right? And so this is not something that we can do. The reason we're realistic is because some mistakes can be too costly, right? I mean, just calculate. Well, robbing a bank is a very profitable event. You go into a bank and you leave with $100,000 for a few minutes of work, right? I mean, imagine you rob 10 banks a day. what a profitable business. But we know that the cost of it is you spend years in prison, and a lot of people get caught. So actually, not to get caught requires so much planning and execution and experience that you almost want to, be a career criminal to pull this off by robbing candy stores initially to be able to pull off a bank heist eventually. And so most people don't go into it because it's just not worth to be locked up. Because spending so much time preparing to be a bank robber, you might as well start your own company. You might as well invest into your career, and you'll probably make that or even more money. You're not risking to go to prison. There's only upside, and you're sort of benefiting humanity, which is really what we all want to be doing, especially for good karma, even if you don't believe in it. And so people are afraid to be bad boys, but a woman to be really sexually attracted to you needs to see the dark side of you, the dark side of humanity and sexuality, a little bit of violent, potentially violent behavior, a bit of anger, big of negative emotions, jealousy. And so this is like a way for you to channel all of these emotions into that. And uh, it's different woman to women. Or one guy can be a bad boy for a woman, and for another one he's vanilla, right? And it really depends what's the background of a woman. Girls from a ghetto, for them a thug, full-on thug is a bad boy, right? But if we take, say, middle-class girls, for her thug is completely off, just like off the chart. He's not even interesting in any way because he's just not going to survive in a normal society. You invite him to a middle-class party, he's going to steal all the silver. She can't be with a guy like that. But if he's like tax avoidant, tax evasive, then that's a bit of a good bad. That's the bad boy she can handle, and that's kind of cool, for example. So not understanding this dynamic is you have to bring both into your relationship. Um, you have to be attractive enough sexually for her to feel the spark. So there has to be that masculine edge in you, that sort of a I don't give a fuck and I'm willing to take a risk for what I really want kind of feeling there. So there's that a bit of bad boy energy there, like disagreeable. You're not necessarily bad actually. You're just some people will see you as bad because they want something from you, but you're not going to give it to them because you see something else as better, and you're not overly apologetic for that. I mean, you might even say sorry, but you're not truly overly apologetic. You're like, no, that's the way it's going to be. Confident, masculine, leader, right? Every leader is considered bad by some people, right? So it's always a matter of opinion. What's good, what's bad. But leader, alpha, aggressive, in a way, willing to go for what he truly wants, willing to take a rejection and still keep going. A winner in that way, energy. And that is the energy that sleeps, has sex with a woman, gets her very excited, very masculine, very feminine polarity, right? That's what we want. That's what we want. And romantic is when you become very sweet, very gentle. You look after her as if she's like a baby or your daughter. You give her gifts. You're like, oh, you're my baby. She becomes your family almost like. And so you shower her with all that love. You need that because if you're just always disagreeable, bad boy, super alpha masculine energy, she's not going to be able to develop that emotional bond with you. And so you need to demonstrate some vulnerability to her in a romantic way for her to really be hooked long term into you because she'll be attracted to you sexually only, but her heart and her mind will never be able to accept you. So that's why you want to have that balance. And so to understand that dynamic is to learn how to play with it. And so to experiment, being more bad and being more romantic and seeing how that makes her feel. And I had, if you're not bad boy enough, she's just not going to be attracted to you. So you're off. You're off the charts. You're just meh, no spark. So a lot of guys get into learning dating skills and they become a bit of a bad boy, they become attractive, they become interesting. And then they are like, oh, can't get a girlfriend. I like this girl, but how do I keep her? Because they developed all these habits that are kind of like keeping girls in a distance. And so eventually girls get tired of that because they do want that emotional connection. And so the best advice for those guys would be like, hey, give her a gift, give her flowers, something romantic, box of chocolates, perfume. Or if you want to go further, rent a hotel room, put rose petals, ride all the way towards the bath and bubble bath and wash her and massage her and give her that kind of experience. And this blows women's minds, right? You know, because oh my God, this bad boy does that for me. That means I'm so special. You're just gonna, you know, she's not gonna forget you, at least for a while. At least for a while. So these are the options. These are kind of some of the key things that we don't really that we don't really. Hmm, yeah, I wonder. Yeah, these are some of the things that most guys don't look at. These are some of the top mistakes. And there's probably more. Obviously, we can make that list almost, you know, inexhaustible, unlimited. But I think this is a good start for now for you to start implementing those things into in your life and hopefully get quite a bit better. So thank you guys for watching this. I will be making a live like this at least once a week, maybe more, and submitting more videos and everything else. So, oh, what's this? Ah, okay. My stream private. Yeah, so there we go. And thank you for watching. I see you all later. Bye bye.